Microsoft Teams has been an absolute explosion in the marketplace. And 8x8 have due to launch an integration with Teams to allow their world-leading unified communications piece to run within the Teams platform. So to allow you to have a single application open and use your telephony and collaboration all in one place. This morning we have Will Armitage and Nick Stanek joining us from 8x8 to run through what the 8x8 integration means and what it looks like and what is required from a Microsoft standpoint. I'll also be on hand to answer any questions. Just a bit of housekeeping: down in the left hand corner there is a chat function or a raise hand function. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, we'll be periodically stopping to answer them at relevant points. But if we're ready to go, I'll hand over to Will and Nick.
Thank you, Dave. Hi everyone, this is Nick Stanek. I am a sales engineer at 8x8. So first of all, I am sharing my screen. Hopefully you guys can see that. So from the Teams perspective, as David said, Teams has been a go-to application for the unified communications in the previous several months, obviously exploding with the whole COVID situation, and many enterprises have gone with or have made an investment already or about to make an investment into Teams as their primary communication platform. Microsoft has done a brilliant job creating a platform that does that job really, really well. However, 8x8 has seen a gap in the market or gap within the application, or several gaps, where we can fill in those gaps, add the expertise of 8x8 with the enterprise telephony, as well as add certain value to the product itself, and we'll talk about those values today. Now, between all of the gaps, as we call them, as we see them, we are talking about the contact center applications not being present with the Microsoft offering, integration complexities in terms of integrations with CRMs outside of the Microsoft Dynamics or within even the Microsoft Dynamics, with certain functionalities being crucial to the businesses. Also, from the Teams perspective, the telephony part hasn't been the part of their core products, and they require a lot of add-ons, and many enterprises that you are seeing or that we are seeing in the market going with Teams are still using the third-party providers for that telephony and for that. Sorry, are you guys sharing your screen as well? Can we go back to mine? We're all good. Thank you. So from the PSTN coverage, the Teams part is not as well versed as it would be on the 8x8 side. So what we are doing about that is essentially we integrated an 8x8 within Teams interface, and we have enabled the customers to still use that familiar interface from Teams, familiar user experiences, while having that power of the third party, in this case 8x8's functionalities, and leverage the strong points of 8x8. How we do that? Well, the infrastructure is very complex, but I have tried to present this in a very digestible way in terms of the two clouds one next to each other and having a cloud sync between them. So when we are talking about the integrations from other vendors in the market, yes, direct routing is the technology that most of the vendors are going with. We have added a significant improvement to that with also using the APIs on the back end with Microsoft in order to enable easy provisioning and not be tied down to Microsoft SLAs. Excuse me. So what 8x8 has done is essentially we have on the left-hand side the Teams cloud, the Teams functionalities for the unified communications, including the instant messaging, including the Teams messaging, and the virtual meetings. On the right-hand side, what 8x8 has done is integrated that voice part, but still managed to remain independent and have all of the services still available to their users. In other words, even if Microsoft Teams architecture lets you down at any point, if anything happens with the system, all of the functionalities from 8x8 will still be available. In addition to that, we can talk about the enterprise telephony having significant requirements for hardware. So for retail industries, for manufacturing industries, we are talking about devices that are DECT-based, that are wireless telephony, that have maybe ringers for the warehouses, that have door entry systems, and so on and so forth. 8x8 is still providing full support for all of those devices while integrating with Teams. When we are talking about the API infrastructure behind it, we are talking about the provisioning of those users. The provisioning of those users has been made really easy by 8x8 by compiling the same two configuration managers into one single interface. And essentially, if I play you the video that you will see now on the screen, we can see the 8x8 configuration manager being opened. Creating the user on 8x8 will automatically search the database of Microsoft 365, check for the similar usernames, or exactly the same rather, usernames and password and emails, and basically merge the two users together. And as you can see on the basic information, based on the basic information either passed on through 8x8 or Active Directory, we get this enable Microsoft Team integration, and the provisioning of that is very, very simple and very easy. In additional values to the Teams integration, we really have put Teams in the center. We are not looking to displace this application. We are looking for your users to have the same interface, remaining exactly the same experiences from the user perspective, while adding additional value to it. This additional value is divided into 5 pillars. As you can see it here, we are talking about enterprise telephony, integrations, global capabilities, analytics, and contact center. I'll touch briefly on each one of them. So when we're talking about the PSTN telephony and enterprise telephony, we are covering that global aspect. We are present in over 120 countries, full PSTN in 38 countries. Actually also unlimited calling plans for 47 countries. So again, I'm not here to talk to you about the Microsoft offering on the dial plans or minutes that they're providing, but the voice aspect has been the core business of 8x8 for the last 20 odd years, and we are really have a proven track record of providing these services globally, as well as robust voice infrastructure for the local market. We are also talking about the security of that telephony. So 8x8 really takes security very seriously. And we have provided the secure voice services for many, many years. We are obliging to certain security certifications every year, and providing that encrypted voice, encrypted traffic, having data encrypted at rest as well as in transit, providing end-to-end security or encryption for meetings. And we really have a long record of providing very, very secure services to the telephony. We are also talking about the integrations, right? Integrations are very key, are a very important part of business operations, and it generally improves the efficiency of your agents, of your end users. What we have here is, on the right-hand side, we have a Teams client that you, if you already made an investment into Teams, are very familiar with, that your users are still using as the primary application. But on the left-hand side, we have a Salesforce integration. I'll show you how that works in a second, but essentially, let's talk for a second about the integrations with Microsoft. Microsoft has done a brilliant job integrating Teams with their native applications, with Outlooks, with Office Suite, starting from Word, Excel, PPT, and so on. When it comes to the third-party applications like Salesforce, Zendesk, NetSuite, even Microsoft Dynamics, it is that functionality is very lacking from Microsoft. Now, that might improve in the future. I don't know about their plans, but right now we are providing integrations for over 27 different CRMs and applications, and I'll talk to you about it a little bit more. But essentially, you can see here that we are still receiving the phone call to the Teams on the right-hand side. We are getting a screen pop within Salesforce. We see the contacts that are calling us, and after finishing the call, we can see a call log after that call being logged into Salesforce, and that integration is being made by 8x8. There is additional functionality that we can do with the integration, such as leaving the call recordings. Call recordings are obviously a very big part of the enterprise telephony. We are bringing that into the integrations, and you can still use those even though you are using Teams, which as an application doesn't integrate with Salesforce, or for that matter, any other application that you're seeing on the screen. Even further than that, we have our professional services team that are creating new integrations every day that we can customize and tailor the integrations to particular applications and so on. From the analytics perspective, we can't talk about the enterprise telephony without having the analytics for those statistics, for telephony, for the users, for the supervisors, for the contact center. All of our products have their own analytics. All of the 8x8 statistics are still available as part of this integration. So should you be making a phone call from Teams, you will still have those those statistics available within the 8x8. Okay, so all of those statistics come in different flavors. If you are talking about unified communications, we have our virtual office analytics that will provide you with KPI information, device status, agent status reporting, meetings reporting, all of that. If we are talking about the contact center, we are talking about additional analytics from the customer journey perspective, or maybe speech analytics, quality management. All of those are still available, even though you're using a Teams client. Speaking of contact center is an integral part of big enterprises. If you have customer service teams, if you have IT support, if you're having sales teams that are maybe outbound calling, we still remain, we still keep or retain that functionality of the contact center with intelligent routing, with IVRs, with maybe biometric even IVRs, so voice recognitions, all of that. And all of that is done within Teams client. So you will still be able to receive the phone call onto Teams while having that capabilities, that advanced capabilities of 8x8 contact center. Now, we're not here, obviously, to talk about these features into detail. We will have probably different webinars, and ACS can provide a lot more information on each one of these products that we are adding as a value. But all of them come with an 8x8 license. And when we talk about 8x8 licensing, it's very simple. We have X1 to X8, right? Those are the only ones needed, the only licenses needed to be added to the Microsoft suite that you might have. If you take a look at this diagram on the screen, at the very top, we will see the Office E1 to E4 licenses. We will need a telephony system. For that, we are enabling phone system license. If we need audio conferencing, we are adding audio conferencing license. If we need calling plans for different countries, we are adding calling plans. Each one of these is a separate item within Microsoft. Those will require premise SBCs, SIP trunks, minutes, all of that. If your customer is, or if you're using a contact center on top of that, you are having to go to a third party again and bring that third-party contact center over the top. We have brought that to a minimum, and we have made that very, very manageable, where if you do have E1 to E4 licenses, you can simply add the phone system license and an X8 license. X8 will give you all of the integrations. They will give you all of the functionalities that we talked about previously. It will bring the contact center in, speech analytics platforms, quality management, analytics behind KPIs, all of that. How that's done in the 8x8 licensing world? Well, there are only the two types that I have picked out here for the Microsoft scenario, but as when I spoke to David, we talked about the licensing system from Microsoft changing. So you have the E1 to E4. If you do need a integration for the telephony system, you will enable the phone system license and add 8x8 on top. If you already have E5, you will simply add the X licenses over.
Nick, can I jump in here as well? So these are also available for the business standard, business premium licenses as well. So the Microsoft structure is below 300 users, tends to be on the business licenses, whereas the over 300 enterprise tends to be on the E1 to E5 licenses. So it can be done on both.
Sure, thank you, David. That's definitely an important point there, because 8x8 really makes absolutely no differentiation on whether you have 2 licenses enabled or 17,000 licenses enabled, right? We are very scalable. It's a mix and match model for the licensing. You don't have to enable contact center, you don't have to enable unified communications users with contact center licensing. If you don't want to, you can essentially pick the licenses for each one of the rows within your business and have that total cost of ownership lowered down. I will wrap up with that and give you some of the key takeaways here. So just to summarize, we are we have tried to make this integration the simplest solution out there. How from the licensing model and bringing that integration to life, The same from the architectural perspective and provisioning of those users by using very clever APIs that will check both databases automatically and simply create a provisioning system where a user or the administrator that's making that integration is simply at the click of a button. We are bringing that enterprise-grade telephony into the Teams interface, bringing all the SIP trunking, all of the minutes, all of the dial plans, all of the global support behind it. And we are providing you over the top the power to use one platform for everything, including the analytics, contact center, global capabilities, integrations, and so on. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening. I will wrap up with that and hand over back to David for any questions that might have come up in the meantime.
No, thank you, Nick. And I don't think there's any questions in the chat box unless anybody would like to raise them now. But I think another thing that we didn't cover, it was one functionality that I'm speaking with other clients that are not finding within the Microsoft stack is call recording. So I think that's another very important function that is covered by third-party applications and not necessarily within the Microsoft stack at this moment in time. Mm-hmm. So if you do have any needs for those, then obviously 8x8 would fulfill that and sit behind Teams very effectively.
Absolutely. So from the 8x8 perspective, both our unified communications and our contact center are providing full solution for call recording. They come included into the license, and much like everything we talked about today, still using Teams interface and making those phone calls through Teams, you will still have full availability of the call recording platform that we are providing.
Lovely. So again, thank you all for attending. So I see we've got a number of clients that are already using 8x8, a few fresh faces as well. So if you've got any questions regarding this, I'll be following up with you over the next few days anyway, just to sort of gain your thoughts over the webinar, but also to see if we can be any further assistance. But please reach me. My telephone number is 01604 704 050. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye now.